All right, let's talk about a term that is everywhere these days, cloud computing. We're going to break down what it is, and more importantly, how this one idea quietly powers pretty much everything you do online. You know that feeling, right? That dreaded storage full notification that always seems to pop up at the worst possible moment. It's just a personal, super frustrating bottleneck. Okay, now take that feeling and scale it up. Way up. What if you weren't just saving a few photos, but trying to stream movies to hundreds of millions of people all at once? Suddenly, that little storage problem becomes a colossal business-ending nightmare. That's the scale of the challenge we're talking about here. So, to really get why the cloud is such a game changer, we have to rewind and look at how things used to be. It was a world of physical server rooms, and honestly, it was a massive headache. The problems were just huge. First off, you had to spend a fortune. I mean, a real fortune, just buying all the physical servers. Then you had to constantly maintain them. And what if your app suddenly went viral? Well, scaling up was painfully slow. You might have to wait weeks or even months just to get new hardware installed. And here's the kicker. If anything went wrong, a power outage, a server crashes, your entire business could just go offline. Every single minute of that downtime meant you were losing money, and maybe worse, losing your customers' trust. It was a constant, high-stakes fight. But then, a completely new way of thinking came along. An idea that was so simple, but so powerful, that it would completely change the digital world as we know it. So let's break down what the cloud actually is. And at its very core, the idea is this simple. That's really it. Instead of owning and managing your own computers, you are just using a huge, powerful network of computers that someone else owns and manages for you. Now, the more official definition just builds on that simple idea. And the key words you gotta hear are on demand, meaning you get what you need the second you need it, and pay as you go, which totally changed the economics because you only pay for what you actually use. This really lays out the huge shift in thinking. It's basically the difference between buying a house and renting an apartment. When you buy, you have that huge down payment, and when the roof leaks, guess what? That's your problem. When you rent, you just pay your monthly fee, call the landlord, and you can move into a bigger place almost instantly if you need more space. Okay, so we're renting someone else's computer. Great, but what does that actually look like? I mean, where are these computers and how do we actually use them? Let's peel back the curtain a little bit. So, the cloud, it's not some fluffy thing up in the sky. No, it's very real, and it lives inside these things, data centers. We're talking about massive, fortress-like buildings, just packed to the rafters with thousands and thousands of powerful servers, all humming away with advanced cooling and power systems. And who owns these global fleets of data centers? Well, it's really a handful of giant companies that dominate the market. You've got Amazon Web Services, or AWS, who's the big leader, followed closely by Microsoft Azure and Google's cloud platform. These guys have built the worldwide infrastructure that we all just rent a little piece of. Now, using the cloud isn't just one thing. There are different levels or flavors of service you can get. Think of it like a pyramid. As you go up the pyramid, the cloud provider handles more of the work for you and you manage less. Let's start at the bottom. At the very foundation, you have IaaS, or Infrastructure as a Service. Here, the provider just gives you the raw building blocks, virtual servers, storage, networking. You're still responsible for installing the operating system and all your apps. This gives you the most control, which is great for really complex setups. One step up from that is PaaS, or Platform as a Service. In this case, the provider manages the hardware and the operating system. All a developer has to do is upload their application code, and boom, it runs. This is perfect for teams who just want to focus on building great apps without ever thinking about server maintenance. And then at the very top of the pyramid, we have SaaS, or Software as a Service. And this is the one we're all super familiar with, even if we don't know the name. Here, the provider manages absolutely everything. The hardware, the platform, the software itself. You just log in and use it. Simple as that. In fact, you use SaaS products literally every single day. When you check your Gmail or jump on a Zoom call or binge watch something on Netflix, yep, you are using a super sophisticated piece of cloud software. You don't manage a thing, you just enjoy the service. So now we know what it is and how it works. Let's get to the real payoff. Why was this shift from buying your own stuff to renting? Why was that so completely transformative for the entire world of technology and business? First and foremost, speed. The time it took to get a new server up and running for an application went from, like we said, weeks or months in the old world to literally a few minutes with the cloud. That is a staggering, mind-boggling acceleration of innovation. And then there's the money. The economics were completely flipped on their head. Instead of these massive upfront capital costs, companies could now operate with flexible operational expenses. You only pay for the computing power you actually use, sometimes down to the second. It's incredible. And this is so crucial. The cloud made going global accessible to everyone. A tiny startup working out of a garage can now, with a few clicks, deploy their app across data centers in Europe, Asia, and America all at the same time. They can reach a worldwide audience instantly. When you put it all together, the contrast is just so stark. The old world of building your own IT was slow, it was wildly expensive, and it was incredibly risky. The new world, the world powered by the cloud, is fast, it's affordable, and it can scale up to meet any demand almost instantly. And look, this isn't just some technical detail for engineers. This is the engine of modern innovation. It's the reason a small startup can launch a service that truly competes with an established giant. It's how your favorite apps can serve millions of us at the same time without ever crashing. So from the photos on your phone to the AI tools that are changing how we work, the cloud is the invisible foundation for it all. It has already completely remade our digital lives. So the only real question left is, what new unimaginable things are we going to build on it tomorrow?